Whoops. Got a little excited there. I think I might list that as my starting time. 2:34:30, I believe that was. Alright, we're going to do a sorcery overview for 1.04. I'm thinking I'm going to hit every sorcery on the way down. If I need to actually hit something, we have our troll friend and our 2 jerk exile guys down there. Keep in mind, this is going to be on New Game Plus 7. We just finished the all bosses thing. And I need a cooling down thing that I can do where I can just chat about Elden Ring and not flip out and get angry at bosses. So, we're going to go right down the spell line, starting Glintstone Pebble and going all the way down. I have 12 spell slots to use, and we are going to go row by row on these. So, to start, Glintstone Pebble is still really amazing. One of the best spells in the game. FP efficient, fast, long range, all around, great bread and butter, sidearm, Glintstone sorcery. Swift Glintstone Shard, equally as good. It's fast, FP efficient, long range, and you can actually combo with it. So if you do a Glintstone Shard and one of your bigger ones, you actually have an animation for that. So if you're looking to use your shards in PvP, definitely consider setting it up where you have the Swift Glintstone Shard followed by Comet, specifically. So you can do the Swift and immediately go into your larger Glintstone ability. Great Glintstone Shard is fine. I think... That's a red. I think I would rather use Pebble over it still. But I think all of the Glintstone abilities are actually fine now. But yeah, the Shard is probably the one I would pass on. Wait. Yeah, the Great Shard. The Great Glintstone Shard. Glintstone Comet Shard, I would still consider. Because you can charge it up to launch it. And it is actually shockingly good for the bigger ones. So I would opt for this one or for Comet if you're looking for the big ones. Because Comet is actually really good now. Especially if you're doing that combo I mentioned. Because we can go up to our troll friend and, shoot him for almost 2,000 damage. And then 1,400 damage for the not surprise attack. And then if you want, you can also fire them off like, whatever, let's go for the triple kill. Don't even need to look at him die. Triple kill. So yeah, I think that the go-tos here are Pebble, Swift Shard, and the Comet, with a consideration towards Comet Shard. And for the other things that finish off row 1, there's the Shard Spiral, which is actually not that bad now. Because these are all the ones that were upgraded for 1.03. And yeah, we can fire off a bunch of these. And this one actually does okay damage. And it has some interesting hit zone things going on, right? I think the problem I have with it is you always want to charge it. So it's a little on the slower side. But it's not bad. Now for Glenstone Stars, I'd probably consider a pass on these. Because of a spell we'll get to later. Is it bad? No. I don't think there are many bad sorceries anymore. But is it good? Probably wouldn't list it as good. And same thing with the Star Shower. That's better, in my opinion, but still not amazing. Yeah, and then Glinstone Arc is... I don't think I need to hit things with Glinstone Arc, do I? Glinstone Arc, still really solid. I still recommend Glintstone Arc even after all of this, and even though I don't personally use it, it is definitely recommended. You know what? Just to show the damage, I guess. Because it still is effective. It's more effective against multiple targets, obviously. But yeah, having the lock on in this guy's face, we should actually get him knocked down a couple times. It's still perfectly fine as an ability. I think, though, in the end game, when you get to a Duelist Moonblade, that probably covers what you want out of Glintstone Arc. And then Crystal Barrage recently got an update, I think. It's not bad. Right? Pretty okay damage. You have to sit and channel it, though, which means you have to sit still for a little bit. But yeah, it's actually not a terrible spell to use. Yeah, we'll just Pebble this guy to death because it's Pebble. All right, yeah. So in row 1, they're very much the same, which is why we can kind of go through them quickly. But in row 1, Pebble, Swift Shard, Comet Shard, Comet, maybe Shard Spiral are my big recommendations. And then, of course, Glintstone Arc. So Crystal Burst, Cannon of Hyma, Gavel of Hyma, Shatter Earth, Rock Blaster. Then all of the buffs. I guess we'll do a Terra Magica thing. I guess we'll put the laser on. So Crystal Burst. If I recall correctly, you put it above you, right? Oh no, it's a shotgun. Never really used it. Don't really like it. Ow. Uh-oh. Well, that's good. Because it's even hard to spam it. Yeah. You're going to get interrupted a lot here, I think. Well, thank you, sir, for killing that dude. But yeah, I would probably go not use Crystal Burst. Because I think you have better options for a spell that hits in that range, where you have that like cone in front of you that you want to damage. Cannon of Hyma is not that. Gavel is. But yeah, Cannon is great. We missed the little guy. Troll, stop tanking for your little guys. Yeah, so what happens with Cannon of Hyma is it is an arc of a projectile that is really good at taking out small groups. Where's a small group I can take out? Probably Haligtree. If I had to take a guess, we could probably arc one at the Misbegotten here. This might actually be a bad idea. But yeah, you can do arcs with these to like slam dunk the enemy from afar. And yeah, this is a mistake, I think, because of this guy being not with these two. Yeah, I was thinking of this up here. Nah, I don't think we can do it. There goes that rune arc. So, yeah, I think I just screwed up my whole tutorial here, too, because I wanted to do this all as one, and it's like, well, we're going through a death screen now. Because I wanted to go to another place to show the spell off. But yeah, I think Cannon of Hyma is one of the better spells in the game. I do recommend it. It's just we keep hitting this troll's damn knee. So it's like, there we go. So yeah, you can see we dealt damage to all three of them and killed the little guys. So Cannon of Hyma's role is not as a like DPS against a single target thing. Cannon of Hyma, you definitely want a group to use it against. Same thing with Gavel, which has been upgraded immensely. Like, look how fast this comes out now. Like, we could actually, ow, if we don't get killed by the troll, we could actually use the Gavel to kill it. Because it deals a lot of damage. Hits pretty good. Uh-oh. He hit his head. It actually does a lot of damage, and it's... Whoops. It's amazing for groups, by the way. Like, it's not the best against a single target, like a troll or a boss, but it's really great when you have a group of enemies clustered together, and you can just run up and pop them with the hammer. So, Shatter Earth and Rock Blaster. So, Shatter Earth... We'll just do it. Shatter Earth is this explosion. I don't think I need to run up and show that with these guys. I would go for Gavel of Hyma. I would go for a Duel's Moonblade over Shatter Earth. Even if you had the Digger Staff, I would still go for that. Now, Rock Blaster, on the other hand, if you hold it, you get this drill, right? And you can see it channels our FP down. And then you release for a big explosion. You can see it's okay damage, and then we can release, get the explosion, and we can get out of here. Would I use Rock Blaster? Ow. Well, that might be death. I would consider it. Oop, that's not red. That's blue. I know my colors. I would seriously give it... Ow, consideration. On new game, not on new game 7. I would give it consideration on lower new games. Where you don't lose half of your health to one-shots. Again, it happened again. Because the damage I'm taking is not accurate towards what you take in the game normally. But yeah, I would recommend Rock Blaster, I think. I think with the Digger Staff, it could be made even stronger. That being said... I don't know where I would actually use it. So Scholar's Armament, how can we do this? That's not accurate damage, I think. So 570. A hit on the leg. What the hell was that delay on that? 570 for a hit on the leg. 799 for a hit on the leg. So Scholar's Armament is actually pretty good, I will say. It's a good buff when you're running a battle mage. It's a good buff if you have the stats for it, depending on what your level is. My character happens to be 340, and we have 60 strength, 60 dex, and 80 int. If I were doing this at a lower level character with maybe 40, 40, 60 or something like that, or 60 strength, 60 int, I would still consider it because the buff is actually pretty substantial. It's based off of your sorcery scaling. So however high you have that will add a chunk of that to your damage. Now, the thing to remember is sorcery scaling is also based off your intelligence, which is why high int means Scholar's Armament works better. And then Terra Magica is still good. I can't really do the laser right now because just to compare, it was $7.99, right? We're dealing over 1,000 a swing. Owie. Doing over 1,000 a swing with that. So yeah, pretty good buff if you can manage to use it properly. And then, yeah, laser is what it's always been. Very, very good damage at the expense of your FP bar. Uh-oh. Owie. Very good damage at the expense of your FP bar. But if you run the proper physic with it, you can have it go for 10 plus seconds straight. The problem is the physic is actually broken right now, so you only get 5 seconds out of it, which is why I'm currently not using the laser in my main setup. You know what? Let's put the moons on. Oh, we can only do one moon at a time. Okay. So this is the spell that I'm recommending instead of the Glenstone Stars. It has the same properties where you charge up and fire. It just does a bajillion of the projectiles. So it does a lot more damage, and it's very hard to roll for PvP. And that's where I would use it, honestly, is I'd use it in PvP. I wouldn't use it so much for PvE, because I think there's better direct damage spells out there, as you can plainly see. That something like a you know, Glintstone Pebble will work better, I think, for 1-to-1 damage. And something like Kari of Hyma or Gavel of Hyma will work better for the group damages. But that's really good for PvP because of the number of projectiles. Now, Founding Rain of Stars is also really good. I wish it was 1 slot, though. So you charge it up and release it, and you get these... You get a shower of stars. And it's really good. You can only have 1 out at a time, so you kind of have to be aware of your placement. You do charge it up, but you can set up traps, so we can stand roughly right here, and he should walk it. Oh. Yeah, and enemies are just walking it. I believe, don't completely quote me on this, I believe it has infinite vertical range going down from the clouds. Because I have used it in, like, Celia Hideaway to kill that, what is it called? It's not Grafted Scions. It's those noble guys that are a crap enemy. I used it where I cast it, and it went all the way down the pit. So I don't know if I would say it's, like, completely infinite vertical range. Just really solid vertical range. Royal Revenant. Thank you, Loris. Alright, next spell is one of my personal favorites. One of my highly, highly recommended spells is the Magic Glint Blade. You sort of put out that little seal. You put out the seal. And it charges up based on how long you hold the button. And then shoots out the Glint Blade. So you can go fast. Or you can go slow. And you can mix up your timing. So if you want to do like a bunch all at once at one target, you can do like slow, slow. And send out a ton of daggers. Now for the phalanxes, I recommend this one most of all, if you're going to use the spell phalanxes. Because the point to using the spell phalanxes is not their damage as much as it is the hit stun you get out of them. Ow. I thought I'd have like evade there. It's not so much the damage. I like the regular phalanxes posture damage it does. And I especially like the weapon art. In fact, I would recommend, if you want the phalanxes, to just use the weapon art version. Because I believe that the 4 is a much better... I just realized what I did. The 4 is a much better posture break than the spell, honestly. And I like it more than the there we go. Than the big one. Why not? So yeah, for phalanxes, definitely recommend the default one if you want to use it. Alright, this goes forward, doesn't it? I have never used Magic Downpour. I believe Selen uses it when you help her. I personally think I'd rather go for Falling Rain of Stars personally. But I think you can do like multiples. Yeah, you can do multiples of these though. So if you really wanted to get like technical, you could do here and here. And it should kill both of them. Yeah. But again, if you want that type of direct damage, you can get it out of a direct damage spell. Oh yeah, this is one of my personal favorites too. Loretta's Greatbow is one of my top 3s. It is one of my favorite spells in the game. I have used it, not since I've gotten it, I've used it for a while though. Now, you may be wondering, that's not as much damage as like... Uh-oh, this is gonna hit. That's not as much damage as the, like, Comet or whatever. But here's the thing. It has a very long range. You can pick off enemies from very, very far away, which is why we use it. The damage is not that much greater than a typical Comet, but we are actually going to reset this guy real quick. But the range is the real reason to use that. You can even, if you're doing leveling up, you can actually get in that level up area near Moog, you can actually shoot the Suicide Turkey to get it off the cliff. Like, it's that long of a range that you can actually proc that from there. Now, Loretta's Mastery, we can do a comparison here. So, let's see. This might be tricky to do, though. So, Loretta's Mastery shoots out 4 arrows. So, let's fully charge up. Well, let's just pop them. So, let's fully charge up. We get the flash right here. Blink. So, 1,500. We missed. That's my problem with the Loretta's Mastery, is the arrows have a chance to miss. I can't believe that went through there. I thought it'd get caught. Here, hang on a second. Ow. The arrows have a chance to miss. So it's like it's going to be more damage. And of course, if you get a partial hit, you get the partial hit still. So you could end up dealing about a mastery's worth of damage. But the other problem is, even though that's possibly way more damage, costs way more too. Because FP cost is still an important thing. It also lacks the precision that the Greatbow has, which is the reason why I run the Greatbow. Is I wanna snipe that faraway enemy. I'm not looking to deal like continuous DPS. It's a one and done burst shot. That, because it doesn't shoot straight, is detrimental to that ability. Now, if you like Loretta's Mastery or like Loretta, it's totally fine to use it as a spell, though. It's still a pretty good ability. I just personally think it's better to do... I just personally think it's better to do the... yeah. I think it's personally better to do the normal one. So Renala's Full Moon and Ronnie's Full Moon both got buffs. I think if we try to hit this guy, we'll be good. But yeah, they're a little faster, but I still personally don't recommend them as much. Because this will drop this guy's cold resistance. So we could jump over to Adula's Moonblade, right? He didn't care that it hit him. And we can deal more damage with this. But I don't think it's worth using the It's a 2-slot ability for one that is still absurdly slow, even though it does enhance your damage with like your frost abilities by quite a bit. I would still probably pass on the 2 moons. Now, if you're using the Mimic and you're not trying to game his spells really hard, I would definitely give them Renala's or Rani's full moon. Yeah, I definitely feel that the moons are okay. It's not that I'm not recommending them. It's just that they have a kind of place that's... You're not using it everywhere, because it's also dodgeable. And yeah, this, I think Kari and Slicer might be my new favorite spell. Kari and Slicer, it is the Sword Swing. Tiny Sword Swing spell. It is very fast. It deals an absurd amount of damage up close. And it has a running attack and a jumping attack. So you can be very mobile with it. It is great at roll catching, because you can do these little dashes to get roll catches. You can also do the jump to try and get a roll catch. And it's very safe, because you can be like 3, roll. So we can just like kind of do a bunk, he's dead. Bunk, he's dead. Let the troll decide what it's going to do for his turn. Turn around. And kill him. Very, very fun spell. I like it a lot. Might be my new favorite spell. It actually carried me through the endgame and new game +7, if you can believe it. Because my other favorite spell, I think, got nerfed, but not nerfed stupid hard. We'll get to it. So, Kari and Greatsword, I'd pass on Kari and Greatsword. It's not terrible. It's just, this is fine up until you get a Adula's Moonblade. So we can run in, and we can do some, you know, slashes with this. It does okay damage, like I said. But, ow, interruptible. Not nearly as safe as Kari and Slicer. Ow, I didn't think he'd be doing that one. Trolls have a jumping double fist slam, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. I didn't know that for the longest time. But yeah, not exactly the safest move, because there's a charge up. You do that little salute. And yeah, you have to be careful with it. Unlike me right there. No, I'm dead. We'll just jump to Kari and Piercer. Like I said, Adula's Moonblade is basically that, but better. Adula's Moonblade is that, plus Glintstone Arc put together. Now, Kari and Piercer, I'm torn on. The big thrust sword, you can do it instant, or you can charge it up. And it has some uses. If you have an enemy you can knock down, you can actually chain the piercers together, because the charges... Excuse me, sir, I am busy talking. Yeah, what the heck. The charges will actually... Oh, the other guys are active. Don't like that. So the charges will actually line up with rolls. Ow. And they will roll catch. Pretty okay. Well, recovery catch, I should say. But it is also a good roll catch against enemy players. I just don't think it's that great. Uh-oh. I just don't think it's that great a spell against PvE things. In fact, I'm not even going to dignify killing that guy with it. Now, Adula's Moonblade is one of my favorite spells. Maybe number 2 now. The changes to it... ruined is not the right word, because I still really like it, and it's still very strong. It's just, I have to get used to its role now. Because Adula's Moonblade went from being where you, like, swing, move, 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 reposition, swing, and get the big hit, to being like, I'm going to go like 1, 2, oh, I have to move now, and then move. Or go for a 1, 2, 3 move. What's happened is the first swing now, the damage is now like the other swings. It's not the big hit anymore. But the other swings were buffed. So if you can get to something big like a dragon, I would absolutely say a Duel's Moonblade it. It's also very good still for groups. You can see that we just killed those 2 dudes, and we got stepped on. Because I'm getting a little greedy. And we frosted the troll, so we're going to deal more damage to it, and we killed the troll. I think that the other spells like Gavel of Hyma, Glintstone Arc, kind of get replaced by this spell once you get it. And this spell basically carried me through the entire game, basically every difficulty. It's like one of my main spells. It's probably my second favorite spell after Kari and Slicer now. And I do consider it very good. Was it nerfed? Depends on how you look at it. Yes. Oh, perfect. So yeah, I do highly recommend it though. And if you're running the Mimic, and you want to game the Mimic, it's still a great spell to game the Mimic with. The Mimic will actually swing it multiple times, but again, that I think that's where I'd say the nerf is a nerf, is the Mimic is very like, it's not going to sit there and chunk, really. It's programmed to act like an enemy where it's going to attack a little bit and then move, attack a little bit, move. So yeah, you got to deal with that. So invisibility spells. Ambush Shard is awesome. I might even work it into my kit. I really love it. It's great for getting behind shields. It's very FP efficient. It's good in PvP. I haven't used it a lot in PvP, but it's good in PvP. And yeah, I think it's all around one of the better spells in the game. Night Shard, I would pass on. I think Night Shard is a bit too weak. And I'd rather just go for like the Swift Shard. The advantage of Night Shard versus Swift Shard, though, is the same advantage that Night Comet has. If you have enemies that evade, they will not evade, for the most part, Night Shard or Night Comet, or even Ambush Shard. The one caveat I would say is you want to offhand the Staff of Loss with the Night Comet. I do highly recommend Night Comet. I'd even say use it over Comet if you do this. If you offhand Staff of Loss, you basically are going to hit like a Comet, but enemies that evade, which obviously the Troll doesn't evade, so it's a bad example of that. Enemies that don't evade, or that do evade, you can pick them off pretty good. I got a lot of mileage out of this with Millennia in my last run at her. Because Night Comet, she just won't evade it. Now, she will evade other attacks, and she does evade after you hit her. She does that little, like, shuffle move that you have to be aware of. But yeah, I would definitely recommend Night Comet. So, Unseen Form is not as good as Hidden Body used to be. Do I recommend it? A little. Would I absolutely use it? Probably not. Oh, excuse me, you don't see anything. None of you see anything. He might actually still see me. See, that's the thing. Hidden Body is just not as good in this game. In 3, I don't think that would have seen me. And Night Maiden's Mist is alright. I don't necessarily recommend it. I think we killed one of the dudes. Yeah, we killed one. Oh. Yeah, see, he saw me and I was sitting there crouched. Ow. So, Unseen Form, I would recommend it in certain places. certain places where you know you have to run through. Very, very top of my list is the run up to the Beside the Great Bridge. I would definitely consider it for that. Except the area with the birds. That's, I think, right... I think the bird area is this right here. On higher difficulties, definitely kill those damn birds. Otherwise, you can get through, like, this chunk that's right before it, and the chunk right after it. I think, definitely, with this. And the other big run-through place would probably be Halig Tree to avoid the ballistas. Oh, and actually, that's another good one. Stormvale. The beginning of Stormvale. You can avoid the ballistas with it. And any place where you think you need ballista avoidance, like Gate of Lindell. Yeah, Gate of Lindell also works because they're the ballistas lined up here. They generally won't see you. Artillery generally won't see you, and that's where I'd recommend really using that. Now, this next spell, Eternal Darkness, I want it to be better. It looks awesome. And you may be wondering what that does. It's very hard to show off. Let's kill the first guy with the sword. Actually, this guy we can do some ambush sharding to and get him. Almost got him completely dead with it. Yeah, shields are irrelevant when you have ambush shard. But yeah, we're gonna make noise and aggro these two. Put that out. As you can see, it does do what it says it does. Projectiles will go into the hole. But it will eventually stop. Ow. And you do eventually start to eat projectiles. Is it cool? Yes. Could it be better? Yes. Let's do one more. See, we'll put it on the... Ow, guys. Just give me one quick sec. Because if we put it, like, on the side, right? And then if we just step over here, you can see it's not working right about there. So it will actually not pull things in, even if you think it's close enough for that to happen. So you just have to be a little careful about your Eternal Darkness usage if you choose to use it. But I wouldn't recommend it, honestly. I think I'd rather just have a spell to kill those guys. Rather than toying around with just trying to avoid projectiles. Alright, so, fire spells. You do have a couple fire spells in the game. They're question marks for me, honestly. So, Magma Shot. Doesn't arc that well. It does magma, though. So, it's like, we can get it. And, like, ooh, it's better now, but I don't know if I'd recommend it, really. Is that other guy dead so I can run out here? Oh, he's not. Same thing with Roiling Magma. Roiling Magma, neither of them died from that. That got him. Roiling Magma, Tornado. Because we can go up and we can be like, whap. Whap. And we can kind of set up traps and mines. While we're fighting the giant. But again, this is kind of a refrain with certain sorceries. I think I would rather just run a damage sorcery. I think it would be really fun to use it against a lower difficulty Gideon. And then Gilmer's Fury is another one where it's like... The risk with Gilmer's Fury is not worth the reward. On a bigger target, maybe? Big group, maybe? But again, when I say this, I'd rather run other damage spells. Now, Rykard's Rancor I do recommend now. Maybe not against trolls, but you can see we just dealt a crap ton of damage to it with a couple casts. So Rykard's Rancor, it sort of shoots out a skull, and then the skull's trail causes explosions. And each one of those explosions is its own instance of damage. So Rykard's Rancor, I think, is usable now, after its little update. The problem with it, 2 slots. So if you're looking for a fire sorcery to carry with you, I would give serious consideration to Rykard's Rancor. Maybe Roiling Magma. Maybe Gilmer's Fury. They're both in the maybe column. I would give serious consideration to Rykard's Rancor. Let's load up these crystal spells. Oh, we can get the... Nope, we can't get all the gravity. No, yeah, we can. No, we can't. Dang. That's okay. Cold spells take 1 second to do anyways. Yeah, Glintstone Ice Crag. It is a ice missile. Very good. I would say that using sorceries, you have an abundance of missiles to choose from. Whether you want the Glintstone abilities, Glintstone Ice Crag, Night Comet, Loretta's Great Bow, Glint Blade, even the Phalanxes. You have a ton of options for all of that. Now, Freezing Mist, I'd probably argue is garbage. Alright, so Frozen Armament. Oh, yeah, we had to put our other one on. Frozen Armament, like Scholar's Armament, really depends on your build. I don't know how it works with the sorcery scaling. But we can try. So you frost up your weapon, and you now have a frost weapon. Not bad. 4, still no frost. Still haven't frosted yet. Thank you. There it is. That took a lot of hits to get the frost off. So yeah, probably say pass on that. Boop your head. Thank you. And then yeah, the Ice Storm, you know, let's just kill him with the Frost Sword. Ow. Yeah, okay, just kill him. Compared to Scholar's Armament, I would pass on the Frozen Armament, unless you're building a cold build. It would get enhanced by Ronnie's Moon, enhanced by Ronnie's Hat, but yeah, otherwise I'd probably pass on it. Probably the same thing with Zamor Ice Storm. I think the only good Frost spell, honestly, is the Ice Crag. Actually, Zamor Ice Storm could be good. I think the problem is it's too damn slow. You can charge it up a little, it seems. So there's that. I mean, he killed the dude better than we could. With the spell we were using. But yeah, Shattering Crystal. I don't use the crystal spells as much because I don't like Crystallians, so... Ow. Ow. I didn't know there was a combo there. Enemies have so many moves in this game, it annoys me. Okay. Bruh, just let me kill you with the Shattering Crystal so I can unequip Crystallian spells. It's like a crystal burst in front of you. Crystal Torrent could be good. It's a big ol' FP sink, though. And Crystal Release. is that. All right, let's go into the much more interesting gravity spells. I kind of feel like if you're going to use Crystal Torrent, you might as well use the laser. If you're going to use Crystal Burst, you might as well use Meteorites, Founding Rain of Stars, anything. And Crystal Release, maybe there's a spot for it, but again, you have so many options for that melee space around you that those options I think are better. Now Gravity Well has one trick. Is that it pull... Here, hang on. Let's see if we can get this guy moved. It can pull enemies towards you if it doesn't outright kill them. That outright killed them, though. So it pulls enemies towards you, which is really great for pulling enemies off of things. So if you're like imps in the sewers of Lindell, a couple guys in Stormvale you can use it on. It's kind of a tricky spell. Collapsing Stars is the big boy version of that. And yeah, that would pull smaller enemies. Both are okay. Both have their place. Don't think they're on my recommended list, though. Roxling definitely is. Ugh, I was like, he's gonna roar at me. Roxling definitely is. We're gonna hit. Hang on, we're gonna reset the troll because I just need a reset. Roxling and the Meteorites. Roxling is 100% worth using. I just need the troll farther away to show it. Oh, I can't do the bubbles. Dang. Oh, we're almost done, too. I guess I could throw Briars on there. We have the faith for it. I might be able to equip Arcane to get the bubbles up. But yeah, Roxling, very good. Because we get to basically do this like mid-range DPS, very constant damage, and if you hit it enough because it's physical damage, you do get riposts. So we can actually riposte this guy if we want. Whoop, okay, that's not a riposte, but you know what? Pretend it was. And that spell is made even better by the fact that you can just get it. Like, you can just get that spell out of... Oh, okay, you just turn... I love enemies that turn immediately towards you and do stuff. Yeah, it's very good. You can get it out in the middle of the swamp in Caelid, near the Streets of Sages ruins, along with the Meteorite Staff, which will enhance that spell's damage. So yeah, very recommended. Now, Meteorite, we're going to do the other Meteorite for attacking right there. Meteorite does that. You can hold it, lay waste to an area. If you get underneath a big enemy, you can deal quite a bit of damage to it. Is it recommended? Maybe. It's in the maybe column. I think there's a personal preference level to Meteorite. I don't use it. It might be too dangerous to sit and channel something. And if you're going to sit and channel, the laser's probably better. Or Meteorite of Astel is probably better. So Meteorite of Astel, you can kind of sit and channel it, and it does bigger rocks. So this could potentially be better. You can see we almost killed the troll with it, but it costs our full FP bar. Now, if you, though... Yeah, you can see even the little, like the two little guys survived. If you, however, use the infinite FP flask when it's not borked like it is right now. Oh yeah, see, we're gonna get hit. Yeah, we get hit out of it. That's the problem with it, is it's not poisy. So yeah, I would say Meteorite of Astel is pretty good. Maybe recommended. If you have the flask, it's definitely recommended. I don't, however, recommend any of the death spells. I don't think any of them are that good. I think we had one get an upgrade recently, but I still am not going to use these. Okay, I might give Rancor Call a go. It's just, this is one of those things where it's like, we're not reaching, oh, there we go. It's like, we're reaching the Troll Boys. Considering we hit for like 900 there, I'd rather just use a Comet. Right? Or Meteorites. It's not terrible, it's just not good. And an Ancient Death Rancor is basically a costlier version with bigger skulls that doesn't deal that much more damage. Explosive Ghost Flame, they sped this up. Both its up... Yeah, they sped it up, but I don't think they sped it up enough. Because it still has this really long recovery and this really long windup before you actually go off. It's better now, though. But yeah, you can see that we're just kind of standing there with our staff in the ground for quite a while. Fia's Mist does not work against, I think, any enemy in the game. Because this is a death effect, and death effect only affects Tarnished. Only affects humans. And Tibia's Summonings, I think they adjusted this in 104. I don't think it's good. I think it maybe has one... has one thing it can do that's kind of funny. And that is, I don't think... Oh, he acknowledged me. I think you can actually use it against certain enemies and have them not acknowledge you when you hit them with it. But yeah, just... we cast it and missed there. And then now we're, like, backed up. If he moves around, he's just... it's just not gonna work. Takes forever to cast to get the full charge. Doesn't deal a lot of damage. Very FP inefficient. Ow. Yeah, don't... definitely don't recommend it. Briar of Sin, well, that's good for you, sir. Briar of Sin and what's the other one? Briars of Sin and Briars of Punishment. So of Sin is faith-based. One, you need faith for it. So it's not actually going to deal a lot of damage regardless of what we do. We can repeat it. It's going to cost FP and life every time. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay against the little guys. But it's not great. Well, not good. I didn't mean to take that, but... I knew he was going to roar. Damn it. Yeah, it costs you life to use. So you run into that problem of, do I want to give up my life for this spell when my other spells are better? And my other spells don't scale off of my not main stat. Now, if you're running 80-80 in Faith, maybe you could run it. But yeah, I don't think the Briars are actually all that worth it. And what do we need for the bubbles? I think I can do that. No, wait. I have 10. I have 10. There is a hat that gives you 6. Is it that one? That's 3. I don't think we can do the bubbles this time. 12. Oh, 18. No, we can. All right, Oracle Bubbles and Great Oracular Bubbles. Bubbles! It's a really funny wind-up, honestly. Because it's... hurt! They'll eventually get there and deal some form of damage. Are they good? Maybe. Would I use them? Nah. I think it's funny that these are like the into arcane spells. There are only 2, and they are bubbles. I mean, we actually did kill this guy with our, essentially with our FP bar at an appropriate level. But yeah, I don't necessarily know I'd use these. Damage is okay. It's just, I don't... Again, I just don't think they're that good a spell at the end of the day. It's cute, though. It's a cute little thing you can do. But I'd probably pass, honestly. Let me get my normal helmet back. So that's the sorceries. Let's do it for a roundup. I'll do my top 12-ish. So, number 1, numero uno, for me personally, is Kari and Slicer. Great DPS, very efficient, cool, running attack, jumping attack, all around favorite spell, I think, in the game. Number 2 is Adula's Moonblade, still very strong, not, in my opinion, the powerhouse it was before, not necessarily nerfed, though. It's a different role. It's not the burst thing. It's more consistent damage. Still very good and very battle magey. Number 3 for me would be Loretta's Great Bow. High damage, long range. Great for picking off those targets that are tricky to get to. And number 4 and 5, I would say, are tied. Magic Glint Blade and Glintstone Pebble. Magic Glint Blade, lots of tactical uses. Because you can throw it out, get an enemy to turn towards you, and get them in the back if they're using a shield. You can do setups where you throw out the Glint Blades, and then you can go and attack something, and the Glint Blades will add their damage. Enemies won't dodge the actual Glint Blade, so if you have a high dodge enemy, they'll dodge the cast, but not the Glint Blade. So if you do like 2 slows and 2 fasts, you should be able to line up about 4 shots. 4 or 5 shots. If you do like 2 slows, 3 fasts, something like that gets you the shots in. Glintstone Pebble is the all-around goat sidearm, because you can use it a lot. It's got long range. It's good damage. Low intelligence cost. You start it with the Astrologer. Cheap to pick up if you're another class. So all around, really great projectile. Next, I would probably say is Comet and Night Comet. These two together are on the same level for me. Comet, if you just want the Glintstone Shard. And if you do Swift Glintstone Shard into Comet, I know I have Pebble there. If you Swift Shard into Comet, it's a great combo for PvP. This also does just really good damage now. I highly recommend Comet. I didn't recommend it before. I didn't recommend a lot of the Glintstone things before. I do recommend it now. Same with Night Comet, especially if you equip the Staff of Loss in your offhand. It is a very good projectile, and enemies won't dodge it, for the most part. Sometimes they just have a dodge after they get hit, but they won't dodge the projectile itself, so it's really good for attacking enemies that dodge. Next, I would definitely say is Roxling. Roxling is another great projectile. It's probably on the same tier as Comet. It's probably a little more FP efficient. I would only knock it down a little bit because of the third rock. I don't know if it happened when I was throwing it around, but oftentimes I think it's the rightmost rock. Like you fling it out and the rightmost rock will clip something a lot of times. So it's kind of tricky to use it in corridors, and its range is good, but it's not the best. So I'd probably just put it after the shards for that. Then I would say is probably Cannon of Hyma. Cannon of Hyma is very strong against groups. It has a good arc, It actually has, I think, infinite vertical range going down, but I might be wrong on that. So you can arc it into a place and just take out a whole group of enemies. Notably, the ants in Deep Root Depths. I use it a lot against them. But yeah, I do very much recommend Cannon of Hyma. And now I will recommend Gavel of Hyma for a similar role, but in melee. Gavel of Hyma deals a lot of damage to a big area right next to you. It's basically a similar role to a Duel's Moonblade, but I think it deals higher spike damage. So if you have a big group of enemies, skeletons, imps, those bull guys, and Siofra, just whip this out and bam! Still up, bam again. And you do a double bam, and you can generally clear out a group of adds. Now, these two, the two of Hymas, I think their problem is they can't really be used against bosses, which knocks them way down for me. And then I would say, if we're going to go further, my recommendations do include Founding Reign of Stars. My recommendations do include Terra Magica, because it's a very good buff. I don't think I said that I recommended it before, but I definitely do recommend it. And circumstantial recommendations, Comet Azure, if you're using the FP flask, FP Negate flask, to one-shot a boss. Similarly, the Meteorite of Astel, to like one-shot a room, if you're using that flask. I do also throw a conditional recommendation behind the Shard Spiral, a conditional recommendation around Glintstone Arc, conditional recommendation around where's Scholar's Armament, and Ambush Shard. I think Ambush Shard's actually pretty great. Oh, and Rykard's Rancor. Probably I'd also throw conditional at. Certain spells that are useful, but I wouldn't use a lot anymore. Unseen Form, Ronnie's Dark Moon. Oh, Stars of Ruin is conditional for PvP. Very good in PvP. Maybe overused in PvP and might be dodgeable easily in PvP. I haven't used it a lot in PvP, honestly. But yeah, I know it's good for setting up like little dodge traps and stuff. But yeah, I would probably put it in my third tier of, if you wanna, it works, but it's not like, it's not as good as it should be, honestly. I think Stars of Ruin, if it was any better, would be brokenly good. But yeah, good in PvP. Ronnie's Dark Moon / Ronala's Full Moon. I honestly think you should just shoot him out. Just be like, Foong! Like do the wind up that you have on maybe the Great Blade Phalanx, and then just huck that. Then I'd use it. But yeah, 2 slots, high int costs, not a lot of damage, an okay debuff, good on the Mimic. I would not use it a lot though. Rykard's Rancor, possibly really good, probably conditionally really good. The bosses that I used it on, tried to use it on, it didn't work as well as I wanted it to. So I think it might be usable, but it might require a lot of trial and error to get it going. Beyond that, there is a lot of personal preference in your sorceries. And I won't disparage anyone for using something weird or out there like Glenstone Stars or the crystal spells. I might disparage you for crystal spells. But yeah, I do think sorcery is in a great place in this game right now. I really like what FromSoft has done with it. It's not like Dark Souls 3 where it's just you have Crystal Soul Spear and conditionally Soul Greatsword and conditionally Soul Stream, and then everything else is just like garbage. Well, Great Heavy Soul Arrow / Great Soul Arrow, okay, those are workable. But yeah, I think outside of like 4 or 5 spells in Dark Souls 3, it's all really bad. In this, oh yeah, also Rock Blaster, conditionally recommended. In this one, a lot of conditionally recommended spells. Oh yeah, I forgot, I didn't even do Starlight because I didn't want to cast it because it stays with you too long, and if you're just in a room, it actually can be a little annoying. But yeah, this is great for going into caves and stuff if you don't want to use the lantern. I actually think it's better than the lantern too, if you can spare the spell slot for it. But yeah, I do think sorceries are in a great place in this game, and I'm going to continue playing a sorcerer as my main character for like co-oping and stuff. So that's going to be the overview. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this and have a great morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are. And scene.